The Ruto administration has this week marked 1 year in office, and among the key 5 pillars of Kenya Kwanza's manifesto is agriculture and food security. Still too early to give a verdict of a success or failure in the agriculture sector. But what strides have been made so far? Have some of the promises made been initiated? And how about those that have stalled? Let's get more from Grace Kanja.
Agriculture. What comes to mind is a farmer somewhere in the village, right? But someone told me every single day, you and I experience agriculture in one way or the other. You took breakfast, right? Lunch, or you're perhaps having dinner right now. So this sector is key and was one of President Ruto's key 5 pillars in the Kenya Kwanza manifesto. So much so that he pledged to invest at least 250 billion shillings in 5 years to boost the sector, raise productivity of key value food chains, and cut basic food imports by 30%. The president also promised to provide subsidized fertilizer to farmers, perhaps the pledge that caught the attention of many.
If we had not withdrawn the fertilizer subsidy that was there in our Big Four plan, we wouldn't be in the crisis we are in today.
And he seemingly kept his word. The first phase of the subsidized fertilizer was launched in January 2023, targeting 2.1 million farmers. The subsidized fertilizer retailed at 3,500 shillings, down from 6,000 per 50 kilogram bag.
Hiyo fertilizer na mahindi itaandamana pamoja na itazaa.
Tulijaza mafomu zaidi ya mara 2. Na tukienda Kajiado tunaambiwa haijakuja kutoka Nairobi.
The president has since announced the commencement of the second phase of the program, with the fertilizer prices dropping from 3,500 shillings to 2,500 shillings per 50 kilogram bag.
We are providing farmers with fertilizer whose formulation is customized to feed crops with their specific requirements of elements and address local soil nutrient composition.
Hiyo fertilizer haikuwa mzuri. Hiyo fertilizer nitrogen yake iko chini sana. So ndio tunaambiwa eka moja tutumie fertilizer 2.
Now, different people have rated him differently. Mzalendo report, for instance, in its release of the status of the pledges made by President Ruto, indicate that the pledge to reduce maize prices to 100 shillings per 2 kg packet from 200 shillings has been broken. Now, don't get me wrong. The price of unga has reduced from 197 per 2 kg packet in August 2022, according to the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and is now at an average of 187 shillings, according to a TV47 spot check. But not the 100, right?
You look at subsidizing consumption, and at some point you ask yourself, okay, where are we getting the resources from? But on the other side, when you say, okay, let's subsidize production, of course it doesn't work. It's not a panacea on its own. But what we are anticipating is that then leads to a scenario where by virtue of increased productivity, of course, you then have the kind of medium to long-term effect that with greater supply of food, then prices come down and we can afford those prices.
The pledge on input finance and intensive agricultural extension support has been initiated. The president promised to transform 2 million poor farmers from food deficit to surplus producers.
There are countries that are starting to invest in extension, but there are others who do not make the effort. There is no employment of new extension officers.
Ruto further promised to deploy modern agricultural risk management instruments that ensure farming is profitable and income is predictable. Agricultural stakeholders also feel that there has not been enough budgetary allocation to this sector.
Your reference point is what we call the Maputo Declaration, where African countries committed to spend at least 10% of their budgets on agriculture.
Treasury CES announced the allocation of 49.9 billion shillings towards agriculture from the 3.68 trillion budget. Now, some quick math will show that it is a mere 1.4% allocation. According to experts, only time will tell if the interventions made by the president will be viable enough to particularly lower the cost of living in the country. Grace Kanja, TV47.